Welcome to this technical masterclass on CLABSI surveillance, designed specifically for MD Microbiology students. Today we will decipher the clinical protocols, diagnostic criteria, and reporting mechanics required to maintain high-fidelity infection data. CLABSI versus CRBSI. The first essential step is understanding the paradigm shift between clinical care and epidemiological tracking. CLABSI is a surveillance definition used to identify primary bloodstream infections in patients with a central line where no other source is identified. This is distinct from CRBSI, or catheter-related bloodstream infection, which is a clinical diagnosis requiring specific laboratory evidence, such as a matching catheter tip and peripheral blood culture, to prove the device is the definitive source. Defining the central line. For the purposes of surveillance, a central line is defined as an intravascular catheter that terminates at or close to the heart or in one of the great vessels. These vessels include the aorta, pulmonary artery, superior and inferior vena cava, brachiocephalic veins, internal jugular, subclavian, external and common iliac, and femoral veins. Notably, for neonates, the umbilical artery or vein is also considered a valent central line. Surveillance exclusions. It is equally important to recognize the blind spots in surveillance. Certain devices such as arterial catheters, arteriovenous AV fistulas, atrial catheters inserted directly into the atrium, and ECMO are strictly excluded from central line counts because they possess different hemodynamics and infection risk profiles. The LCBI gateways. To classify an infection as a CLABSI, a patient must first meet the criteria for a laboratory-confirmed bloodstream infection, or LCBI. An LCBI is defined as a primary bloodstream infection that is not secondary to an infection at another body site. There are three specific pathways to this classification. LCBI-1. LCBI-1 is the recognized pathogen pathway. It is met when a recognized pathogen is isolated from one or more blood cultures. Because these organisms are known to be virulent, the laboratory isolation alone is sufficient to trigger the classification, regardless of whether the patient displays clinical symptoms. LCBI-2 covers common commensals, such as coagulase-negative staphylococci or diphtheroids. Because these are frequent contaminants, a higher threshold of proof is required. The commensal must be isolated from two or more blood cultures collected on the same or consecutive days. Additionally, the patient must exhibit at least one clinical symptom, such as fever over 38 degrees Celsius, chills, or hypotension. LCBI-3 is the pediatric exception pathway for patients 1 year of age or younger. While it follows the same culture requirements as LCBI-2, it utilizes age-appropriate clinical triggers, including fever, hypothermia, apnea, or bradycardia. The 2-day rule. Temporal attribution is governed by the 2-day rule. A central line must be in place for more than 2 calendar days on the date of event to trigger a CLABSI. If a line is removed, the lingering window applies. The infection is still a CLABSI if the date of event occurs on the day of removal or the next calendar day. For patients admitted with a line already in situ, the device day count begins on the first day the line is accessed in your facility. The transfer rule. Geographic attribution is managed by the transfer rule. If a patient is transferred from Unit A to Unit B, and the CLABSI date of event occurs on the day of transfer or the very next day, the infection is attributed back to Unit A. This ensures that receiving units are not penalized for infections incubating prior to the transfer. A specialized subset is the mucosal barrier injury LCBI, MBI-LCBI, primarily seen in neutropenic patients or those with graft versus host disease. In these cases, normal flora like viridans group streptococci translocate across a damaged gut barrier. While these are tracked within the CLABSI module, they represent a fundamentally different pathogenesis, where the source is internal translocation rather than the line itself. To protect data integrity, certain scenarios are excluded. Secondary BSIs, where a blood culture matches a site-specific infection, like a UTI or pneumonia, are reported as secondary to that site and are not CLABSIs. Similarly, purulent phlebitis with a positive tip culture is considered a clinical infection but is excluded from surveillance counts. Finally, we measure hospital performance using the CLABSI rate. The formula is the total number of CLABSI cases divided by the total number of central line days, multiplied by 1,000. Central line days are calculated by counting every patient with at least one line in the unit each day at a fixed, standardized time. Precise microbiology data is the cornerstone of systemic hospital safety. By applying these rigorous laboratory criteria, temporal rules, and exclusions, we ensure that our surveillance drives real improvements in patient outcomes.